Solange Moujan joins me on the set for today's Entre Nous. Hi, Solange.
Hi, Jeannie.
Today we're focusing on Brexit, a decade on. There are quite a few practical ways in which Brexit is really felt in the UK today, aren't there?
Yeah, all divorces come with consequences. And of course, there are many broader implications of Brexit. But I thought we'd look at some of the day-to-day hurdles that it has created, namely food, postage, pets, and passports, and how they have pinched pocketbooks in the UK. For Brexit has, according to the Bank of England's study on this, shrunk the UK economy by 6% over the past decade. But how is it really hindering growth? Well, let's start with food. Food inflation is skyrocketing in the United Kingdom. The London School of Economics released a report that found that by November 2026, retail food prices will have risen 50% over the past 5 years, or since 2021. The speed of that increase is huge. The paper says that it took 20 years for the previous increase of 50%. Now, Brexit isn't the only thing to blame for this, and by a long shot. The energy crisis, the war in Ukraine, COVID, all of this contributed. But when it comes to Brexit, it's not that just the trade barriers on food imports, they've bumped up costs by 12%. And the LSE found in figures from 2019 to 2023 that translated to a price increase of £400 a year for the average family. And it's not just consumers who are feeling this pinch. The sector continues to struggle to find laborers, and farmers say that their subsidies, the ones that replace the EU ones, they've dropped, as France 24's reporters found in a story that they did on Brexit regrets.
UK agriculture at the moment is in a bad place. Economically, most farms are budgeting for a loss. This year, our government has stopped most of the financial support through subsidies that we had when we were in the European Union.
Now, an in-the-works agreement on food could bring an end to what the British press has called the Brexit sausage wars. In this tentative agreement, there would be no more paperwork or physical checks on dairy, fish, cheese, fresh meat. But again, this reset is not a reality yet. And if all goes well, it wouldn't be until 2027, mid-2027 at the earliest. But it might help stabilize costs.
So, Solange, is it safe to say that shipping things to and from the European Union has become a nightmare since Brexit started?
Yeah, it has, for individuals and even more so for companies. More than 16,000 small businesses, or 14% of all businesses exporting to the EU, they've stopped exporting to the EU. They've stopped since Brexit because of complex paperwork and also duties. For importers in the UK, like this gourmet food shop we're about to see that France Television went to see, it's not just the forms, but potentially lost perishable merchandise as well.
This is the import certificate for England. These are the documents for export clearance in France. And this is the famous physiosanitary certificate. And we've had cases, even with these documents, trucks have been stopped at customs. And when that happens, the truck is held and nothing moves.
Now, for individuals, sending and receiving parcels is now a costly endeavor as well on both sides of the channel. Customs declaration forms are now required, and even if gifts under £45 are meant to be exempt from the VAT tax, often extra fees and sometimes actually taxes as well can be added, making for an unwelcome surprise for the receiver. Same goes with online shopping. Concrete examples of the price hikes can be found on the French government website on this. An €80 camera ends up costing €117. A clothing purchase at €180 ends up at nearly $250 after customs, delivery, and also paperwork fees. In essence, shipping to and from the UK and between the EU and the UK now has many asking, is it worth the hassle and the cost?
So that's for the movement of goods. What about passports, whether it comes to people or their pets?
Well, when it comes to pets, it's gotten incredibly costly as well compared to what it was before. Before Brexit, the cost for an EU pet passport was £60, and it was good for life. Now, the rule is that the pet must see a vet in the 10 days before entry. The certificate is only good for 6 months, and a new one is needed every trip to a new member country. A massive headache for pet owners who travel to Europe, not to mention the average £230 cost. Now, as for people, well, of course, the passport rules have changed as well. This was a campaign stumping issue during Brexit of getting the passports back. Symbolically, it's out with the burgundy and in with the blue, the color prior to 1988, which is when British MPs and not the European Union decided to change it. Today, some 70% of the UK's 54 million passports are now navy, and all of them will be so by 2030. To travel to Europe, Brits now need passports, whereas an ID sufficed before, and they have to be issued in the past 10 years. And then, of course, there are all the slew of rules for visas, be it long-term ones, short-term ones, strict rules for dual nationals, electronic authorizations to enter the UK, making travel across the Channel a headache that has a majority of Brits regretful and perhaps nostalgic as well for the good old pre-Brexit days.
All right, Solange, thanks so much for that look at how Brexit has affected daily life in the UK. You are watching France 24. Don't forget, if you want to get more on True, you can always check out our website. That address is france24.com.